Hi, everybody. We got a great show for you today. It's a little different than our normal show. We're going to do something called Moonshine and Music Review. We've got the whole staff of Moonshine and Music here today. We've going to do an album review for a band called Preston Black and their new album, Green Coffee. So that's going to be really nice and fun, and it is a good show. But before we talk about that and get to the show today, I want to talk about what's going on in the world out there. We here at Moonshine and Music as a collective are completely against what happened in Minneapolis. And we want to say we support all the protesters out there, and we hope it stays peaceful and that real change can happen in our time where we feel like everyone should be treated equally under the law and in general. And a lot of our friends of the show have had a really rough few months, and this situation is not really helpful to any of that. So please keep everybody in your hearts and minds and keep the protests peaceful, and let's see if we can make some real change in the world. Anyway, back to the fun and the music and the things that we normally don't do, which is not politics here. We are all about the music and shining love on the people that make the music. And today, we're going to do the first Moonshine and Music Review. So here it comes. I hope you enjoy the show. This is Moonshine and Music with Joe Shelton. Wait a minute, that's me. Anyway, we're going to bring you some inspiring songwriters, musicians, and maybe some side challenges and other stuff around the music industry. So stick with us right now, because the show is coming your way. Woo! Moonshine and Music starts right now. Everybody should welcome themselves to Moonshine and Music Review. It's our first Moonshine and Music Review show. It's interesting and different today. We are not bringing on any guests. We are going to be the guests.
Yes. I can dig it.
I think we all invited ourselves separately.
Exactly. So we have the Moonshine and Music crew, Brent Smith and Brent Schlemmer and Bailey Shelton, or as I like to call them, the three BSs.
The
full BS here today. 3/4 BS. It's 3/4.
All three of my initials.
3/4 BS.
Yeah.
You're JS for JavaScript. The
JavaScript.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your background back there? Who is that doing the backflip on that?
That's my friend Mason. Yeah. I wanted to do like a session where it was like alien themed. So hold on, I remember. He's getting like abducted. So yeah.
I thought he was ascending to heaven or something.
Smith has got like his own brain back there.
Yeah,
nice.
Brain, eyeballs.
Your nose is really crooked.
Yeah, that's after it was fixed too.
Yeah.
Insane.
I mean, it looks nice from the outside, but it's very crooked on the inside.
Brent Schlemmer seems to be going all natural in the background today. No special.
RLX.
Mm.
I got like $2,000 worth of RLX behind me.
Nice. That's a lot.
It is.
He's got to show it off,
It didn't cost me. The best part is it didn't cost me anything.
Well, that is the best part. I like getting $2,000 things that are free.
Well, and I had no idea when I got it. I was like, "Oh, these are cool," and I took them home. I figured out they're made to clip onto a mic stand and stand up vertically. So if you get on Sweetwater and look it up, I never looked it up until we were in quarantine. I was like, "Hey, those are really, this really work good. I wonder how much they are." I get on to Sweetwater, a pair of them is almost $500, and I have 8. So I actually have 9 because I have a piece that's like in a different spot. It's over behind some amps and stuff.
All right, now you're just bragging.
That's what it is.
It's a pretty good deal for free.
It is a very good deal for free.
I mean, that stuff it works. Maybe that's why my mic sounds so good.
That's what it is. You don't even need
Oh, just a sweet
mic.
voice.
Like, you got that stuff back there, man. Everything's clean.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you could record an album like that. This is all because of the free sound treatments.
Oh, I just recently got set up to do that. So I finally, broke down and got all the interfaces and all the shit. It's time to get busy.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's do that for next week's show. Just record a live album.
There you go.
We'll have Brent recording a live album. We'll critique it. Just
Yeah.
like
All right.
this other album.
Don't do that. It sucks.
We'll live Zoom it.
So our special album review today is going to be on this record here on the screen share, which is Green Coffee by our friends in the group Preston Black out of Shelbyville, Indiana. This is an 8-track. We got 8 different tracks. It's not on 8-track, I don't think. I mean, maybe they put out a copy on 8-track. Who knows?
That'd be weird.
I mean, I think that'd be kind of like edgy and cool.
That'd be very edgy, especially since they have 8 tracks on the record. So
Good call.
I was going to play like a little piece of a track, and then we can talk about that track. The first track on the album is called 700 West, and here's what that sounds like. And I can only find you in a dream. So, that's a little piece of 700 West. What do you guys have for us about that? I know Bailey was giving it a listen last night for sure. I
listened to it all. I listened to the whole album this afternoon too. So
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
just kind of chilling.
Yeah, the whole thing's big, like surf rocky. This song in particular, it was like, it's the first one on the album, so it's like the first you hear that surf rock vibe. So immediately I was like, oh, this is like California music, which is interesting because where is there a beach near here? But that was like my first impression of it.
Maybe the casino in Shelbyville has a pool or something.
It's like what's it called? Where the water keeps
Lazy River.
No, it's like when you make a big development like a casino, and they have to like do the foundation for it. They make like a relief lake. You know what I'm talking about?
Retention pond.
Yeah, retention pond.
Yeah.
That's where they wrote this. They went to a nearby retention pond
Do you have
in their sandals and beach
proof
shorts.
of this, or?
No, I mean probably not, but it's nice to dream.
And probably have some floaties on the arms, so they don't concentrate.
It's also interesting because if you looked at Preston Black's like media material, they're all like, if someone showed me their content, like their social media page, like pulled up their Facebook, I'd look at them and go, yeah, that's a metal band probably, just because they're all like standing in the metal band photo poses, all wearing black in like a urban area. Their name sounds metal. Like, there's nothing about them on the surface that would say surf rock. But
when we had them on the show before, just seeing them and meeting them before and then talking with them and then hearing them play, I'm like, I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
But it's still good though. I dig it.
Yeah, here's the Facebook photo of them. I do like that he has the John Belushi T-shirt on. That gets big props for me. Always.
Well, the big props that I got from their social media was the fact that I went, I'm one of those guys, like, anybody can do all kinds of stuff in the studio. I'm going to go look at some videos. I want to see them live. That's just always been the way I've looked at it. You can appreciate a band for their studio work, but I'm a live music guy. I want the warts and all and stuff. So I went to look, and there was not too much in the way of like their full band stuff on there, at least on their Facebook page. But But there was one video of like the lead singer guy playing one of my favorite Replacements songs, which I thought was really, it was like, and it was dead on. It was like, yep, that's exactly how that goes. He didn't mess with it at all. He definitely just did a straight cover of Skyway by the Replacements, which I was like, all right, I'll go listen to your album now. It's funny how that those kind of things can influence your, at least the listening pattern that I went in with. When Joe asked me to do this, I was like, hey, dude, you don't want me to review albums. I'm an asshole. You're not gonna like. They're not gonna like what I have to say. And as a guy that does band bookings, that's probably not a good reputation to have. So I try to just shut up for the most part. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Or yeah, I listened to that. Whatever. I'll be as non-committal as I can. But to have those little things lead you up to like, all right, I guess I'll give these guys a listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I did. I enjoyed the album. I don't really have anything horrible to say about it, but we can break that down as we go here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I find really good about like a small indie band like Preston Black is that they seem to be normal guys, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go into their social media, or if you meet them in person. I mean, I know them pretty well. I know the lead singer Kit pretty well, and if you go into their stuff, they're just normal guys, but they happen to be artistic. And if you can learn that they're normal guys and connect with them as normal folks, or around a certain thing, then that really gets you wanting to listen to their music. I think that's cool that you found something that like latched you onto them. That's the stuff right there, right?
Right. And that's exactly how I think, I think that's something that a lot of acts miss out on, is to really point at their influences in a way like that, where it's like, hey, this is just a song I really dig, blamp. And then if you're a fan of that, that's going to lead you down the path of like, oh, I'll check that out. I need to go listen to that. And like I said, I did not intend to, like completely listen to the entire album, but I did.
There we go.
They're all sweethearts unless you're a fake psychic.
Like fake psychics, that's true.
So pretend psychic, not fake.
Well, as I listened to 700 West, the first song, Bailey talked about surf rock, and one interesting thing I thought about it was that they have a totally like Fountains of Wayne kind of vibe.
It's totally Sublime is where
or Sublime.
Yeah, that was the first thing as soon as he started singing, I was like, oh, there's that. I assumed that later on the album was going to kind of swing more towards a ska feel, which it doesn't. It stays right in that like groovy reggae beat kind of mode the whole time. Right? I really thought, and and then maybe that's slightly prejudice in me of like saying, well, look at these, like you said, normal looking white guys. Guess what? To me, that says ska band, not reggae. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So I was waiting for more horns. I was waiting for like that double time. Never happens. It's the same. It's got that. Like I said, I just listened to it all day because it was nice to kind of have on while I was working here, and it was like, oh yeah, this has got a little. I found myself kind of bopping a little. So far, so good, I guess.
Well, let's check it. Look at the Sun. Let's see what that one sounds like. Hold on, I didn't share. I need to do that. It won't show up. You won't be able to hear it really. Let's try it again. All right, there we go.
Down, open your heart. Hold me now. We got to get along before it is too late. Look at the sun shining down. Am I supposed to disappear?
And right on with what you're talking about there. That same kind of reggae beat kicks in.
Right. And that song could have easily gone to the ska. If the drummer had just done a double time what he did, that would have been a ska tune. You know what I mean? It totally would have gone, instead of boom, boom, that it does. It could have easily gone. You feel me? You know, it's like, listen to any of those ska bands from the 90s. That's exactly what happens. It might start like that, where you're like, oh, this is a nice reggae beat, and then somebody would scream and the horn section would come in and it would be twice as fast. You know, like, there's the ska, but it doesn't happen there. You know, it's like I kept expecting it, but it doesn't happen.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the whole
I
album.
was a little disappointed, but like I said, it just kind of played all day and it was cool.
Yeah, the whole album is like that whole chilled out vibe.
Yep.
I think the one with this song was, I noticed it was very similar to the structure of the first. Just as far as like, it was like the same, like, okay, we're going to do two verses and choruses, and then we're going to have a solo, and then we're going to reprise the chorus, and that'll be it. So it's like a really straightforward band, and honestly, I kind of liked knowing what I was going to like hear next. The one thing about this song that I really noticed was, like, I wanted the vocals to be less reverby, I guess would be the word. I don't know. I'm not a musician. I've never mixed anything in my life, but I was like, for something that is literally just a guitar and vocals, I felt like it was almost harder to hear the vocals. So that was like my only apprehension.
So you have like a critique of the mix a little bit. You'd like the vocals to be a little more prominent.
Yeah, and that kind of goes across the entire album. The entire time I'm like, man, I wish it weren't hard to hear the vocals. But I feel like that happens to me a lot with DIY and indie bands. It's like, if I could just move the crap out of the way, like whatever they're putting on their voice, I feel like I would vibe with it a little bit more, especially because they are hitting harmonies like a lot of the time. It's just kind of hard to hear what's going on with the vocal track.
I think that's a common technical problem in a lot of DIY projects, is that, you know, you go to a real studio, and you know, that's a $4,000 or $5,000 microphone. You know, most DIY studios don't even cost that much for everything they have. Mm-hmm. You know, and there is an audible difference between a Neumann U87 and an SM58. You know, like, there's an audible difference in the detail that it's able to capture. And I think a lot of people are more aware of that when it comes to vocals, because, you know, especially if if you talk to people in person, if they're, you know, how many times have you talked to somebody and you're just like, are you getting sick? You know, like, you can hear those little subtle differences in the way somebody's voice is. And, you know, a higher end microphone is going to capture that, where, you know, like, dude, my expensive mic is $100. I don't, you know, like, I'm not doing anything crazy here, you know, a couple $100. And the thing is like, you can still hear that up to the $700 or $800 mics, where it's like, oh, and then if you jump to that real studio quality mic, it's still night and day, you know. So even if you're spending $1,000 on your microphone, the big boys are spending $5,000. And the difference, and it's not just a name brand kind of difference at that point. You know, it's like, we're talking about gold sputtered, you know, diaphragms and things like that, where that diaphragm costs as much as your entire mic. And it's got 2 of them in there, you know, that kind of stuff. That does make a difference. It's something I've always noticed over the years. And to me, you know, you can get good guitar sounds in your home studio, because you know what they use in the big boy studio on a guitar cabinet? $100 mic. Because it does everything you need it to do. You don't need that extra detail that you need with the vocal mic. And so I've always said that. It's like, you know, if you really want to do a super good home project, don't spend any money on recording anything but vocals. Take all your tracks, go to a real studio for a day, spend $500, and do it on their microphones. Your project will sound 1,000 times better.
Yeah, and from the listener's perspective, that's what turns me and the people that I know who aren't musicians off of like DIY projects. It's like, okay, I started the album and it just sounds kind of okay, like, and most of that is like us not even realizing like the recording quality is putting a barrier onto your experience.
Yeah, I actually thought it kind of worked for them for what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I
bit-
think most of the mix is like trying to lean into the beachy vibe, but it's just so much that it's like.
like I agree the vocals could have been just maybe a little bit louder, but I thought it kind of fit with what they were doing, and obviously you use better equipment, you can get better stuff. But I think it turned out pretty well.
I really like on the I think it's this next track. Hold on, let's put the next one up, because I think it's this one.
Oh yeah, I love the name of the song.
I like the name of this song. Yeah, she doesn't like Buck Owens.
I can't believe she's gone to Bakersfield, where no one ever loves you just the same. Why does it hurt if she'll never learn? I wonder why it took so long to go.
So what I really love about that one is that guitar riff is very cool. That like
It screams reggae to me too.
yeah.
I think you could probably find a dozen songs that start like that. That 3-chord thing, but broken up. It screams reggae to me.
The vocals
I
kicked in on that
can't
track.
point to the song, but it does.
The vocals kicked in on that track, and my first listen through, I went, "Hello, Bowling for Soup? Is that you?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, like, especially with the title, I was waiting and listening very intently to the lyrics. I was like, "Is this going to be funny at some point? Like, is there going to be?" I just don't think this band has like a real like necessity for that like touch of humor with their lyrics. But I was like, this is such a Bowling for Soup vibe that I almost expected it to be there.
I like
Yeah,
kind of,
Bowling for Soup.
the
It's
vinyl,
it's
that's
like that, but then they aren't funny. They're just giving their real story. That's fine.
Mhm.
But what I like about that one is she doesn't like Buck Owens, and we don't really hear Buck Owens mentioned too much in the song. It's all, and I kind of like when you get that whole Bakersfield thing, yeah, but no actual real ode to Buck. It's like Buck Owens without Buck Owens, just in the title. He's in there. So I don't know, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on to the next one. Let's see here. Next on the list, we have
Don't go out with hippies. A sound and solid piece of advice.
But the biggest problem is your hair groomed, and what's it like under your arms, and do you have bad breath?
I know it sucks to be alone.
I want to skip ahead to the guitar solo.
Should we start this over?
So what I thought about this is a reggae song with a gratuitous guitar solo, and my friend Todd Blower would absolutely love that. Like,
they have a lot of solos in their songs. It's in like
Yeah,
1,
guitar
2,
player's great.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, they have like 5 or 6 songs with solos in it, and it's like a short album, so it's like pretty often. And the one with this one is like, what's really weird is it's a gratuitous guitar solo in a reggae song, but it really goes with the track. Like, it just very much flows into it.
That's what I mean.
Black and white
It's
cat
like they
behind me.
halftime all the.
what's that?
I got my black and white cat behind me, my black and white background, so you see craziness. It's her.
Oh.
I just thought overall, it's just the instrumentals of like all the songs. I think they played everything very well. I was impressed with their musicianship, and I like the guitar solos. They did fit the songs and they kind of rocked it out. I was digging it.
And again with this one, it's like the sound of it is fun and lighthearted and almost like a beachy vibe, like something you'd bring to the shoreline. But the lyrics are definitely breakup lyrics, like and then like this was the point in the album where I was like, this is a breakup album. Like he's working through it. He's sad. That was the point where I was like 100% like, oh, this is a breakup album. So
can't stay with those hippies for too long.
Yeah, like don't listen too hard or you'll get kind of sad.
Brent, the thing is, I think that they're a three-piece. So they have a bass player, and I think the lead guitar player is the lead singer. Kit plays lead also, and then they have a drummer. And you're right about that. His guitar talent is just off the chart. He's a really, really tight lead guitar player.
Well, I think in their description on their Facebook page, he even says something like trying to find a way to fuse together, like something with Jimi Hendrix, like, so you've got that. I was like, all right. Like I said, I read all their stuff before I listened.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had a little preconceived notion before I went in.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't give me what I was expecting, though. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are moments of, yep, there's the Hendrix solo, or here's just the real, like I said, gratuitous guitar solo.
Mm-hmm.
But oh yeah, bring those on. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I feel like I could crank that one up, and I'm driving down the road, and that solo just rock out, man. I want to have the windows down and the sunroof back, and that's a killer tune there. I like that track. So
and then the next one up, it's like this is the first time I was really like, there were two times that I was like, oh wow, those tracks really lead into one another very well, and it's this one, Unwinding, and then later on, there's another one.
Unwinding.
All it wasn't meant to be. I take the road to the nearest liquor store, and I lose myself to another drink. Unwinding, and I spend my savings on a weekend loading, and it hurt so bad that I could not control it no more, and I never had the best of friends.
So this one is Unwinding, and they did this show when they were on Moonshine and Music. And so hearing this version of it, because I had mixed and mastered the live version from the show, right? So for me, the thing that's a little different about this is that it's probably about 15 beats slower than what they played it live.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a real, I don't know which way they like it better. I kind of like the live version a little bit better with it a little bit faster. But I really like the lyrics to this song. I think the chorus of it is just fantastic. Like it's a top-notch chorus, and I think that's kind of why I like the faster version better, right? If I hadn't heard the faster version, I probably would have been like, yeah, this is really cool. But that faster one, man, it really gives it a little something extra. I don't know. What do you guys?
It's kind of like the movie That Thing You Do, where they get a new drummer and he speeds up the song, and then they kind of blow up.
Yeah, That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this song, that's what
Well, it's ridiculously hard to play a slow song. Like you to keep,
especially for drummers,
that, what they've got going on the album there, to keep that going live at that tempo, really, really difficult. Like your natural tendency is to not do that. It's to just kind of get closer to that heartbeat. But that's not. It's 80. Dun, dun, and you're more used to, like you said, about 15 beats faster than that. Like, oh, that's where it kind of wants to settle. And when you play it, I'm sure that's probably part of the issue, is that it was live. It's one thing to like go, here's the tempo in the studio, here's the click track, we're gonna do this. Blam. You don't really have any choice but to stay there. Live, it only takes about 1 minute into the song before you're speeding it up. We've all done it. It happens all the time. So if you got three guys that are like all in the same kind of groove, it's easy for that to just climb real quick. Props to them for having a slow song like that.
I was tempted to change the settings I watched it on YouTube to play it faster. I watch a lot of TV that way on my computer, and so I'm kind of used to it. It's all right. Well, how will this sound going at not slow? And then I remembered, oh yeah, they played this before. That's why there's a little bit more of a thing. But I like this version too. But the live was better.
I would encourage our listeners to go back and watch that again or listen to it because they're both really good. I think this song is one that would be more of a mainstreamer that you could drop out on people.
Can you just pull that up, Joe?
The Moonshine Psychic predicts that you will have a...
Pop that right up. It's like, here's the difference. You've got the example part right there, don't you?
Let's go find them.
While he's looking for that, I would say, as someone who didn't listen to it live, because I was not...
I haven't heard that either.
I was like, it was kind of... Honestly, I was like kind of proud of them because this was the first song on the album that I was like, yeah, I really like this. I might listen to it again. And it has that build up to the solo, and then it kind of just like drops. It's like you're feeling this like complete mood shift from like slow to fast, and then as soon as the solo ends, it hits like unwinding, like that hit. I don't know what that impression was, but it like hits the vocal really hard. And I was like, I want to scream this, but it's still slow. So that was kind of the interesting part.
In my carelessness, I think of these mistakes. And after all, it wasn't meant to be. I take the road to the nearest liquor store, and I lose myself to another drink. Unwinding, and I spend my savings on a weekend loaded. And it hurt so bad that I could not control it no more. And I never had the best of friends.
So there's the Moonshine music version, by comparison, but it's just faster, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're I think they're just a really good band live. I recommend that folks go find them on that. All right, so unwinding. Let's look at "I Was Cool in Seattle."
I'm pretty sure this is my favorite song on the album.
Bailey's favorite. Okay.
My recommendation would be later as well.
Pull into
like if you just start at like 3-ish minutes, there's a really cool harmony at like 3:10 that I like.
And sometimes we decided we lose. No. Sometimes we decided we lose. Spent some time in the Northwest. I thought that I convinced myself that everyone remembers you back home.
There was the Hendrix lick.
So I think that that is a really cool part of that, but I like that in that solo, all the bends that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Just prior to the solo, did you catch the like Hendrix Little Wing William. Totally. I was like, there's the Hendrix part, you know.
The
Definitely
whole
distracting.
album, like when they're playing, like to me, like you can tell they're having fun playing it too, which kind of with the whole beach laid back vibe, just kind of chilling, playing some music, and that was like a good experience to translate it to me anyway.
So why is that your fave, Bay?
Well, first of all, it's like very Blink 182 sounding to me, which is probably why I like it. Is I really like Blink 182, but it also just hits this emotional bit. Oh, hold on. Let me change this is a weird thing to say, but let me change my Zoom background real quick so that I can show you how this song makes me feel.
That bend thing is really hard. It's really hard to keep it in tune. There's a lot of guys who like to bend to show off a little bit in their solo or whatnot, and they don't have the skill to keep it in tune as they bend. And that is what I really noticed about that. It was like very, very tight, very, very bendy, and just staying right on the groove. And I know that Brent probably heard that in it as well, being as he's a guitar guy. Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah, that you're right. That is a common problem. Dudes have a tendency to like underbend. Like get there. Like there's the blues one, which is the in between.
Right.
And then there's trying to do it musically and actually bring it up to that, full half step higher or a whole step higher. It's always a little farther than you think. I can remember practicing some, like the little country triple stop bends with a tuner and realizing that what my ear was like, oh, there it is. And you look at the tuner, you're like, no, that's really flat. And then you crank it a little harder and you're like, oh, now I hear it. But there's a funny spot where you think it's right and it's really not. And he's got a good ear where he's hearing that needs to actually go up the proper half step.
Yeah, and when it does,
like I said, good guitar player.
Yeah, it really makes it sing. It really makes it, something that you go, oh wow, that's good. Okay, Bailey, what do you got for us?
So this is my visual personification of this entire album. Just because this song's in particular, I think, is just the crux of the album as far as like themes go. It's about, as far as I can tell, breaking up with someone to move like to a new city, and then you come back like later and you're like, wow, I am both a loser and an idiot because I have broken up with a person I still care about. So it's definitely like hardcore hang up music. Like, wow, I'm still hung up on this girl I broke up with, to move to the city I no longer live in. So that's what I like. And that sentence, like, I spent some time in the Northwest. I thought I convinced myself that everyone remembers you back home. It's like this thing, like, in my mind, when I was in Seattle, I thought everybody back home was thinking of me and thought about me as this like cool person who made it. But in reality, it's like, oh yeah, I remember Dave. Where is he now? Oh, Seattle or something. Well, that's cool. And then you go back to like talking about the farmer's market or whatever. It's actually in the present day. So
Wow.
That's my take.
Cool. So next tune we have is Self-Destructive.
Optimistic that I'm dead. image beyond the point of your control.
So, self-destructive to me has a lot of cojones to start off with a bass solo. That never happens. That's really tough. That's awesome. I mean, I can't. Wow.
Whole song should start that way.
Oh, for the bass player.
I love how the song starts because it like I said earlier on, I think that like some of these have trouble building to like the energy that they want out of it. Self-destructive is the exact opposite. They exactly knew what they were doing. It builds so well to like this like punch of vocals. Again, I do not like the amount of like reverb that is on the vocal track, but other than that, it like hits you with exactly what you like, what I imagine was what they wanted you to hear. So,
Yeah.
What was that, Brent? What were you saying?
She was saying how it was a short fuse to get to the self-destructive.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like you felt it like burn down. You hear it like, and then with the vocals. So.
Yeah, I was digging the bass line on it too.
Yeah, the bass player really knocks it out of the park on that song. Honestly, if he wasn't good, then he would have just left himself completely out in the wind at the start there.
Yeah.
So,
120 pounds of him.
Does he weigh 120? I mean, that.
I mean, soaking wet, maybe.
With the bass and the amp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he and I are like polar opposites in size. So,
you guys could make a really good comedy duo.
You think so? I don't know about that.
You'd have to pick a straight man and a funny guy, but I think just visually the contrast could lend itself to a lot of humor.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything for this one, Brent? Mr. Schlemmer?
Mr. Schlemmer.
You guys are looks like my internet connection's a little glitchy. I haven't heard a damn word you guys have said in about 3 minutes.
It's all gold, man. It's all gold. You have to watch it later.
I will. I said I dig the album. I dig the songs. You're right that anytime that you're going to start with the bass thing, you gotta have somewhere to go after that. You gotta have somewhere to go, and that gives you that extra, one extra step. Start one step lower, then you've got one more to climb as you get, and maybe that's why it feels that way to you too, Bailey, is that it does start a little more, stripped of its, decoration, and then then you get another layer, another layer, another layer.
Mm-hmm.
Nice building. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, we got one left here. Let's check out the last track.
This one's my favorite.
This is the title track. So, this one here has a really 60s psychedelic kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's like a Rusty Shower song.
Oh, okay.
Does your shower rust that bad?
No, it's all porcelain and stuff now, but just Rusty with the reverb, just kind of like shower acoustics and that 60s vibe.
Is that where they recorded it in the 60s? Is that what we're getting at? Like hopped in the shower?
Yeah, those hippies about that.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I don't date hippies, so I wouldn't have anyone to ask.
I haven't, but I'm open to it. Hippies out there.
I have.
I'm open-minded.
It's all right. I'll take a hippies. They're fine.
Right. But I like this one, like in Bailey talking about the theme of the album, kind of breaking up and then moving away, nobody remembering you. Like I thought this was a like a good culmination of that in the song.
Mhm.
Title track at the end, which was interesting too.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes, if you want to be sad on the beach, this is your track. Like, it is like, again, that image is just exactly what this track embodies. There's also a cool little piano later on in the song, which I think could have been turned up a little bit. I would have liked it to come forward a little bit more, but yeah, I like that part as well.
Like I get the whole breakup thing you're talking about, but it didn't make me sad. But like most of the music I listen to is already sad, so I guess I'm just desensitized.
You have too much of a baseline foundation for sad. This doesn't work the same.
I like sappy love songs and all that. I really dug this one, the whole album, and this last song in particular. It was like I listened to it once just to kind of just get like what it is, and then I listened to it like the rest of the afternoon until we came on here because I liked it. So I enjoyed it.
Nice.
I had an unfair advantage because I actually heard it when they put it out, but I hadn't re-listened to it in a little while, and so I listened to it last night, and I listened through it with my Beats headphones. So all that bass in there is like it's bouncy. I mean, I don't know if you've had it with like a full subwoofer effect going on, but if you do, I guarantee that the bass lines in this thing on this last track, 2 tracks for sure, will wake you up. They'll bounce, and if you're next to them at a stoplight and they got 15s in the back, it'll make the whole thing rattle. Like that's
I just had it from
sonic sub going on there. So
with my computer monitors got speakers like a TV. That's how I listen to it. But I'll go ahead and turn on the sub and like music speakers, and
you'll be able to feel it, Brent. You'll be.
I like bass.
I listened to the first track on my phone without headphones in because I am the devil, and it sounded okay. And then I switched to my computer because I was like, wait, what am I doing?
Well, you're young. You'll figure it out.
Probably not soon.
You got time.
Yeah, you got time.
I'm the devil. All right. Well, I thanks guys for doing the Moonshine and Music Review episode today. It was a lot of fun, and guys go out and check out Preston Black. Check out their album Green Coffee. If you're not a big fan of Green Coffee, they have a couple of other albums out. One's called Chuck Wagon Theater. Another one's called Cons Creek Reflections. And this is kind of their third effort. I think it's a strong one. I think it's a real good record. And if you're looking, like they said, for that kind of vibe, it's in the wheelhouse of that California on the beach kind of deal. So check it out.
Yeah, and when the world gets more back to normal, try to catch them live too. They're good dudes and they play well live.
So there we go. Another episode in the books.
Should we clap?
If you want. Moonshine and Music is a presentation of Not Less Entertainment. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved. The producer for today's show was Joe Shelton. Our cameraman, grip, and stunt double was Brent Lee Smith. On cameras and all sorts of other things, Bailey Shelton. And our staff guru is Brent Schlemmer. Join us each Sunday for new episodes right here with Moonshine and Music.